Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Vizik here. Today's video, I am making a tier list for what I feel the killers and how powerful they are, and how they deal with certain aspects of the game. As a background, I have over 1,500 hours in DBD collectively. Because I played on Xbox and PC using the Windows Store, surprisingly, and my Xbox accounts don't link for some reason, and I've done that with two Xbox accounts because I recently got the Xbox Series X. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of shebang bullshit. I've spent so much money on DVD, it's ridiculous at this point. Um, but collectively, I have over 1,500 hours. That's not a shit ton, but that's not something to scoff at. So for the most part, I know what I'm talking about. Um, Maybe a few niche things with every killer I may not know, and feel free to point those out in the comment section below. But this is just my personal opinion on where the killers sit in the current meta as of 5.3 with the boon totems active, including the circle of healing. Um, so right off the gate, I don't feel as though killers right now there's a such thing as an S tier killer. Um, but we'll get into that. We'll keep it here. We'll use it if it feels justifiable. Okay, the first one we got here is Blight. Now Blight, I, huh, I would be willing. Okay, let me think. I would say Blight's S tier. And the only reason there's only going to be two killers here. We already probably know the second one. Um, but Blight is a weird one to talk about because if you're not good with him, he's probably like down here. Um, but it's the skill gap or the skill ceiling with this killer that makes it just ridiculous. The things you can do with Blight are just unreal. You can curve around walls if you know how to do certain, like, it's crazy. Blight takes a long time to learn how to play efficiently and effectively. And same with, Nurse. And I do feel as though that if you master Blight, he's really he's really good. I wouldn't say he's Nurse level, but he's surely deserving of the S tier slot. So, with some of his add-ons that increases his rush speed every consecutive rush, that gets really it basically helps. So the maps that most killers struggle on are huge maps. Think I don't know, Red Forest, stuff like that, right? Well, his consecutive rush speed ups completely like make that not really I mean, it's still a problem, but it doesn't make it as bad of a problem. So that's why I feel like he's S tier because those maps that almost all killers struggle on, Blight can do well on. I'm not saying that he's gonna be perfect on these maps, but he certainly does better than every other killer in the lineup except for one, obviously. But we'll get there. So I do feel Blight is deserving of the S tier. Now, Bubba. If recently I have grown to appreciate Bubba, so if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, or maybe even a month or two ago, I would say he's like C tier, maybe D tier, C tier at most. Um, but I think he's B tier. He has the potential, depending on how the meta changes with the boon totems. He even could go A tier, but right now I feel like he's a solid B tier. The reason for this is because we all know what the boons are overpowered. We all know this. Um, and killers that are very like, think of Freddy, right? Want to injure everybody, and then when you get the chance to hook somebody, you take it, or you take the chance that you get to end the chase really quick and get a hook, right? Those type of killers are going to do awful in this new meta with the boon totems. But luckily for Bubba, he has this chainsaw. Now, there are a few ways survivors can completely force you to M1. But for the most part, if you know what you're doing if you're good with Bubba, he's pretty effective. He's not the best, but he certainly ain't the worst in the current meta. So I think he's a solid B tier with some of his add-ons like the chili, stuff like that. It really helps out a lot. So I do think he's a solid B tier. Now moving on to Clown. Okay. I'm torn on where I should place him. He's definitely still one of the weaker killers in the game. He's so if you would have, I don't know. Like, yes, I will admit that the rework with his bottles with the speed up, it did help him a little bit, but at the same time, there are so many niche situations that you would even use a speed up bottle unless you're unhooking, or I'm not unhooking. Whether when you're hooking and you're going to reload, that's the only time you would ever throw those in any like impactful way that actually is beneficial to you. And let's be honest, does that really help him at all? No, like not at all. So I guess he scrapes by with a D. If it was before the new bottles or the new speed up bottle, he's definitely F. But I think he's fair at D. Some of his add-ons are really good. Well, one of them in particular, Pinky Finger. If you use that, but to rely on an add-on to like, okay, so I should have said this in the beginning, but I'm taking into account some of the add-ons, some of the stronger add-ons. But even like I said, even with Clown with his instant down with the hitting with a bottle, which technically isn't too difficult, but it's the matter of catching the survivor, before the expose runs out, right? Which I mean, again, isn't hard, but if you're playing top tier survivor, like this tier list is going to be for the like high end play, not fucking comp, but high MMR, because that's usually all I play at. But I don't think Pinky Finger is good enough to bump him any higher in a tier list. I really don't. So with that, we can move along to this hunk of dog Poo Poo now. I don't understand a nerf. I get it. The quick scoping stuff may have been annoying. The part where he was like old Pyramid Head when he first came out, where he can use his, like, think old Pyramid Head, like I said, when he first came out. You could stick the sword in the ground and almost instantly pick it back up and swing, like right after. That's the way his gun worked. Quick scoping was a thing, but people complained about that, but that's the only way he could have seen maybe C tier, right? But now, he's better than Clown, most definitely. But he's... I have to be honest, right? He's not C tier, he's not B tier, he's definitely fucking not A tier. He's D tier. He's bad now. The increased terror radius hurt him in a weird way. Like, I think that's just a little, like, just nerfing way too much. I have a feeling they're going to revert that at some point because he's just awful now. Without any add-ons to increase the time that you can shoot from aiming down sight is a little weird in my opinion. If you want to do something like that to a killer, like nerf the shit out of it, for an already mediocre killer. So I don't know what behavior we're thinking. Yes, he's good in the 1v1, but the 4v1, he may get 1-2 kills against a good team. And that's if he's like hardcore, like playing very defensive on hooks, playing like that. But he will always lose unless the survivors make huge amounts of mistakes. So there's that. Deathslinger, pretty bad. Pretty bad now. Demogorgon. I would say he's middle of the road. I may be willing to edge him to B tier, but I honestly feel he's C tier. And the reason for this is because the only, like, let's be honest, his best add-ons are brown. Like, brown and yellow. Like, what? Like, all the add-ons being around his portal makes no sense to me because, like, I don't know. Everybody knows when you're porting, and any smart survivor will know where you're porting depending on like there's a portal behind a gen, you're on the gen, he hooks somebody, he already seen that gen was being worked on before. He's going to port there unless there's another gen that's closer or something weird like that. But using portals are not, it's all it is to get around the map faster, but it's not benefiting you in any sort of way unless the survivors aren't paying attention, aren't aware of what's going on. Which in that case can be very helpful for a Demogorgon. His best perks are obviously the metas, including save the best for last. If you can manage to get on a good map that using Shred on the Obsession is viable, which isn't too difficult on Demogorgon. It's way more easier than it is using Pig. I will say that. But I think Demogorgon's a solid C tier, like upper C tier. So with that, we can move along to Doctor. I have to, he's C tier, but he's low C tier, like really low C tier. He isn't bad. Like, he isn't dog, like, clown level or Deathslinger level now, but he's edging there. The reason for this is because, he completely denies looping. Or, no, he doesn't. Because what every survivor's going to do is they're going to pre-drop a pallet, and because there's no... we want to talk about dead hard validation, hit validation, all this bull crap. Where's the shock validation for Doctor? But, you shock a survivor, cool, they could throw that in a pallet still at the last very second because of, so they just pre-drop every pallet, and unless the Doctor knows unless the Doctor's really, really good and the survivor makes a big mistake, he's not, if the survivor is looping, if it's a decent loop, I mean, there's not much you could do, really, let's be honest. And if they're one of those survivors that just go to a pallet throwdown, you're literally never going to down the person. That's just the reality situation, again, unless they make a mistake. So, yeah. I think Doctor is C tier, but he's really low C tier. Now, let's move to Freddy. I'm going to be honest. He's C tier. He's a little bit better than Doctor just because of the pressure he does provide. But let's be honest, with the new boon totems added, it hurt Freddy a lot. And the counter would be, well, he could just injure them again. Right, but there's 4 survivors, right? The survivors are going to win the war of attrition at that point. Yeah, you're going to go around injuring everybody, but soon gens are going to start flying. The gens are going to get done, right? And with the Circle of Healing totem, whether you snuff it out or not, it's going to save so much time healing from what Freddy is good at now, because they gutted his add-ons. I do admit Freddy was kind of too easy, I guess, to do well with. But they gutted his add-ons. It's crazy to me. But he's not that great in the meta right now. I'd say he is better than Doctor, but I wouldn't say he's better than Demogorgon. So with Ghostface, I do believe, would I say he's C tier, but would I say he's better than Freddy? Yeah, Yeah, I would say he's better than Freddy, just for the fact of like the insta down. That's literally the only reason. Um, his power is still kind of weird. I don't understand. Um, because you think about it, like it takes so long to get your power. Yes, they buffed the cooldown, but ultimately, if you use the cooldown add-ons that you were used to using before, it actually takes longer now than it did before. Just his base cooldown is shorter now, which all it does is open up opportunities to have more fun builds, I guess. More, try different things other than being literally almost required to use the cooldown add-ons. But like I said, the cooldown add-ons now, altogether, even with the cooldown buff, is still longer than what it was before the buff. If that makes sense, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't remember the exact times, but it is longer now than it was before his cooldown buff. But at the same time, it requires sometimes Ghostface's reveal mechanic can be finicky on both ends, survivor and killer. So you can't. I don't know. He's just not a great killer. It is what it is, but I do think he is better than Freddy. Um, like I said, just because of the fact that he can't expose people. Now getting the hit is the next part, because most of the time against good survivors, you're almost gonna be against a really good survivor. I would say a really good survivor, you're going to need your power back in order to mind game effectively, right? Because they can't see your stain, they can't hear your terror radius. I mean, they hear the chase music, but they can't hear where you're at. They can't see where you're at because of the red stain. So mind games work a lot better. And like I said, Ghostface is literally F tier without his power. So there's that, and all his power is all he's got going for him. But yeah, let's move to Hag. I would say Hag's a solid A tier. It's pretty obvious why. Anybody who plays Hag or played against a good Hag knows Hag can almost always force a 3-gen if she's decent enough. So with that in mind, it automatically places her up in the higher tier list. Now, there are some survivor groups, or even solo survivors, that could completely ruin this. You don't want to be chasing with Hag, but let's say you get in like a few second chase just to get a hit on somebody. That one person could just go by and just deactivate every single one of your traps if they know where you're placing them at, because obviously you're going to set up a 3-gen right from the start. So there is counterplay to Hag, albeit can be scary, because you're literally going into her territory, and that 3-gen strat is pretty decent, which is why she's deserving of the A tier. As a tip, I guess, for people who play Hag, don't go in chases. That's how you lose the game as a Hag. You can go on maybe 10-second chases at most to get it down, but don't commit like to a normal chase you would with, like, I don't know, a regular killer. I don't know. So, with that out of the way, we can move on to Billy. Billy. Poor Billy. I would say he's C tier. The reason... Is he better than Doctor? Yeah, I'd say he's better than Doctor. But I wouldn't say he's better than Freddy. If any of you who've played Billy before and now know that Billy is basically gutted. He's like a shadow of his former self. Like he's awful now. But at the same time, he does have an insta down. But it's so easy to play around. Even for good Billies now, because of just how how bad they made his add-ons. So there's that. That's all I gotta say about Billy. Poor Billy. Huntress. I'd say Huntress is B tier. Would I say she's better than Bubba? No. The reason I would say she's B tier is because she has the potential to completely snowball a game fast as hell. And that potential is pretty lethal. And, usually it is a combination of a good Huntress can hit her hatchets and just capitalizing on survivor mistakes. Because one survivor makes one mistake, especially around a hook, it's game over. You've lost at that point. So I do feel Huntress, even for, I would argue, overall a mediocre. Like ask me a few months ago or a year ago, I would have said she's C tier. But I've come around to understand that Huntress isn't that bad. I mean, she isn't, the greatest, but she has a potential to snowball really hard. So we can move on to Legion. Legion, yeah, sorry, Legion. He has nothing going for him. The only way Legions get kills is if you're just not great. I'm sorry. Legion is not a good killer. It's just such a struggle as a Legion to do anything. Because you think about it. You're punished for hitting survivors. And how, you may ask? Well, when you hit a survivor, your power goes down by 50%. That's bad. That's real bad. Like, why? I don't. Maybe I can understand why it is that way, because so you can't hit and instantly frenzy right after to go over somebody else and increase the snowball potential. Sort of like Freddy, but on crack, right? So I understand why it's there, but I think it should be maybe 10%, I guess. 10%, you lose 10% of your power, so you can't instantly use it, right? So you have to be in chase for like another second or something, right, before you can use it. But I don't know, just the fact that you're punished so hard for doing the thing you're supposed to be doing is crazy. Actually, I would say he's nah. He's better than Clown, maybe. But he's still not that great. So Michael. Would I say he's better than Legion? Okay, if we're taking everything into account, even his add-ons, he would be C tier. But he belongs in D tier. Let's be honest. He's not great. Anybody who plays him knows he's not great. He's yeah, because, and I guess it's kind of like the same playstyle as like a hag or a trapper, where you really start to snowball at the end game. But it's the fact that you can be in tier 1 for so long against good survivors. Not so long, like I'm not talking like 3-4 gens pop and you still in tier 1. No, that's not what I mean. I mean like a gen will pop, second one will be almost pop before you get out of tier 1. Like, that's bad. If that happens before you hit tier 2, you can almost guarantee your game's over. Unless the survivors make a big mistake again. But again, you're capitalizing on mistakes. That's not really like indicative of how good a killer actually is. So I guess we can move on to Nemesis. Nemesis, I think, would I say he's B tier? I'd say he's high. I'd say he's better than Demogorgon. And the reason for this is because his power is very good. Behavior actually did a good job with this, and it feels fair to go up against, and it feels fair to use. However, there are a few times why, in this case, I wouldn't put him to B tier, is because there's so many ways you can avoid the tentacle hit on loops, literally just by ducking. On any loop that you can hit over as a nemesis, if you duck, you won't get hit. Obviously, if you're up against the loop. So there's that. His zombies can be useful at times. Sometimes they just fucking wander off and be stuck on random spots, so they're not reliable or consistent anyway. But I would be lying if I said they haven't won a few games before. So I think he's a C tier overall. He's an average killer. He's meh, but he's not bad, right? Which is, why he's at the top of the C tier. So Nurse. Let's, we already know where that's going. I don't even think I gotta explain why. Literally everybody knows why. Oni, B tier. He's better than Huntress, most definitely. Is he better than Bubba? I think he's on the same level. The Oni is very, very, very snowbally. Once he gets that first hit, things start, there's a timer, right? Unless the survivors are just gods. But the reason why I wouldn't say he's A tier, though, is because that first hit can take a long time, because people know that once Oni gets his power for the first time, he's gonna start snowballing, right? And it's just a matter of you just not letting him get any more blood, or just playing safe, right? And even playing safe in that first hit, because that first hit matters a lot. So people will just insta drop pallets, and if you break the pallets immediately, no matter what, then you're just in for a ride. And that's, again, admittedly, that's you making a mistake trying to insta break every pallet, every loop, and whatever. But people will just pre-drop pallets, just plop, and then until you break it, run to the next loop, and it'll go like that until the game's over. If you can't get a hit in any way, usually how you end up snowballing as Oni with the first hit is survivors go to a jungle gym, they try to play around it, and you get your first hit. So once that happens, you start getting the ball rolling. Admittedly, I'm ass at Oni, I'll go ahead and admit it, but he is very snowbally. He has the potential to do a shit ton. So I think he's a very solid B tier, right? Alright, Pig. Ooh. People are not gonna like this one, but she is most definitely D tier. I'll put Deathslinger in C tier, but he's low C tier. But Pig, very D tier. Honestly, let's do this. Bomp. We already know it. We already knew it was coming. Pig is just wow. I don't know how CM Winter does it. I don't. I don't know. Either way, Pig is. People will argue that her slowdown is enough to help her win games, and I strongly advise the people who think that play the game, actually play the game, and be good at the game, because I don't know how CM Winter does it. I really don't. How he can even compete. Her slowdown, is not consistent at all within her power. The same shebang that makes her decent in chase is not play with your food. Save the best for last, which admittedly is way worse than what Demogorgon can do. There's just, I don't know. In her add-ons, temper timer, you're still rolling on a bet, because that survivor can get off their fucking they're trapping like what is it, like 14, 15 seconds or some shit like that. I can't remember exactly, but somewhere around there. And it's like, well, it got him. So I don't, yeah, her slowdown is not consistent enough to justify how weak her other parts of her kit are. Honestly, she is very deserving of buffs. Anything, in my opinion, anything low C tier or D tier and below need buffs, right? And not add-on buffs. I don't think going the add-on route should be the thing. Just buff the power. But Pig, I think that she should have base movement speed even while crouched. The fact that she's slower while crouched hurts her so much. It's just unreal. Because you can ambush my Bubba, but like you have to mind game an ambush. Like, unless the survivors are just awful, which, like, you can't rely on, right? Her ambush is so, like, mind game dependent, and you can't guarantee to save stacks of save the best for last with her ambush. It's not consistent like Demogorgon is, nowhere near. So, yeah. But we'll move along to fucking the Cinnabiter Pinhead. I still am conflicted on where to place him, but I do think he is in this range, right? I would say he's probably B tier, high B tier. I don't think he's quite A level, and for the simple fact that if you don't play certain play styles with him, he's very lackluster, because at that point, like in the build I'm talking about, is the obvious hoarder Franklin's. But you're relying so much on his power, his chain shit, that I don't know, dude. It's not that great. That I really do think. Let's face it, Behavior's probably gonna nerf the hoarder Franklin strat on Pinhead. It's coming. We already know. Like, it's definitely coming. And if you were to use that strat, I would say he's low A tier, right? But whatever. If they do end up doing that, they definitely need to buff his power, because the only benefit that you get for hitting somebody with a chain is the split second that they hesitate to do one thing or the other, to go one way or the other, is increased. Vaulting is slower, stuff like that. They can still throw down pallets. They can still vault. They can still do all these things. They can't dead hard, obviously. But you chain somebody right. I feel like it almost should guarantee a hit against most survivors, right? Especially who are out in the fucking open. Like, that's ridiculous. But funny enough, in loops it seems more powerful than in the open, which is kind of fucking counterintuitive to the way it honestly should be. Either way, we can move to Plague. With her recent buff, I do think she's probably high B tier. She she's, when I play Survivor and I play up against Plague, it's honestly annoying, but she's alright. She's not bad, she's not good, but she's definitely been given some love. I think she's in a good spot right now. Like, she's not bad, she's not good, like OP. She's in a good spot. There's not much to say other than she's in a good spot. Pinhead. I said Pinhead. Pyramid Head. Fucking Executioner. I'd say he's low B tier. It takes so much of you to be good with him that, and even if there's so much variable mess that you have to do, like when it comes to like tormenting people in loops and stuff, like, it's like, I don't know, not only does it require skill, but it also requires the tile to be decent for you to even get the torment. And that's where his power shines, like where his niche design excels is when people are tormented. Because it can negate borrow time, it can negate D-strike, and all these things it could just negate. Which is very, very beneficial for a killer because you don't have time wasted, right? Like if his torment shit were like was still like caged or whatever was still affected by these things, or way down here, but they're not, so they're decent. But he's by no means a strong killer. Even with his like sniping shit, like yeah, you just have to be really, really, really good, and you have to somewhat be lucky at the same time to hit stuff like that. So I think low B is a good place for a Pinhead, or I mean Pyramid Head. Jesus, who Spirit? This is a contentious topic right now. I would say before her nerf, she was A tier. I'd say she was below Hag. People who said she was S tier don't know how to play the game. I'm sorry, you just don't. Like, there's, I've never had problems with a spirit, honestly, ever. I mean, like obviously you run into those good spirits, um, but there's just stuff you can do even before the nerf. So, but now I do believe she's I'd say somewhere like right here, right? Um, she I don't think she was actually no, I can't. I have to be honest. She's low B tier, on the borderline C tier now. The whole idea that people know where you are in your phase. Oh, you don't know exactly, but if you have ears, you know where she is. And you know the tiles, you know where she is. That hurts her power so much that completely like negates the whole purpose of you being quote unquote invisible, right? And for you to mind game stuff. Albeit she is faster, especially with the what is it called, the mother daughter ring, I think. But I don't think it's enough to justify putting her any higher. Like, because if you want my honest opinion, all these tiers there should be like fucking dumpster and no S tier, and then move everything down one, right? Um, yeah, that's just how I feel. But we'll stick to this like I said in the beginning. But in my honest opinion, every killer in the game should have a speed like a walking speed increase, right? Like by like maybe 5%. Like that, just because of how like how I even hate saying this, but everybody knows it's true at this point. How survivor sided high MMR is, it's it's baffling to me. That it's gotten this bad, but whatever, dude. We'll just move along. Spirit B tier. I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, but she is not A. She's not S, and she wasn't S before. Um, but she is B now. Low B. Trapper. With his changes, and if you, I'd say he's in the middle of the road. Freddy's definitely better, but he's definitely not as worse as Billy. Um, with his buffs, he's definitely way better. Like if it was before his buffs, I would say he's like down here, right? But he's gotten buffed, and those buffs are actually pretty helpful. Like you have no idea. So yeah, he's C tier. Not much to say about Trapper. We all know what Trapper does. We all know where his strengths are, and the fact that you can carry around more traps by default. Yes, it's better, way better. So we can move to Trickster. As I don't understand why people find this killer so annoying. He's literally a worse Huntress. He is. Like, I I don't like. He's literally just a worse Huntress. I would say he's Nah, he's definitely not better than Freddy. Is he better than Trap? I'd say he's better than Trapper. But I don't know why people think he's good. Like, I've seen some people say, like, he's high B or A tier. Like, no, dude, no, he's not. He's not. You can't guarantee his knife hits regardless of the loop you're on. Because he's so slow throwing the knives, right? You can literally infinitely loop a loop if he is just going around the loop trying to throw knives at you. You will never get hit if you were on the complete opposite side of the loop, right? If it's a high loop, right? So, yeah, like you have to mind game on loops to get hits in, and obviously that counts as just you being better, right? That's not really indicative of the killer's power, but if we're take both sides equally, the survivors are just as good. They're utilizing the best things they have. They're whatever. Then he's not that good. He's pretty bad. I wouldn't say he's fucking like trash can, but he's bad. He's not that great. He's mediocre at best. Which is why he's like middle of the road C tier. So twins. This is one killer I don't know. I don't know where to place her because on one hand she can feel like this, but on the other hand she can feel like this. So I'll just be fair. Is she better than Freddy? Yeah, she's better than Ghostface. Is she better than Demogorgon? Nah. I'd say she's like right there. She's I don't know, dude. The only thing you got going is Victor. And if somebody holds on to Victor the whole time, every time, it literally hurts you so much. Like, yeah, you can recall Victor, but like, dude, like, I don't know. Yeah, she's not that great. Maybe for camping, for shit like that, I get where she can feel oppressive, but against a decent survivor squad, she's just getting fucking stomped. So that leads me to Wraith. Why did he get a nerf? Someone tell me, please. He, yeah, I'd say he's better than Trapper. But why the fuck was he nerfed, dude? What? Because at most he was like, this. Actually, that nerf. Yeah, he's worse than Trapper now, 100%. I wouldn't say he's Billy worse, but he's definitely worse than Trapper now. Why did you nerf his lunge? Like, what was the point of that? Anyway, this is my tier list. The obvious two up top. You got Nurse, Blight, and then Hag right up, close by. Pinhead, Bubba, Plague, Oni, Huntress, Pyramid Head, Spirit, Nemesis, Demogorgon Twins, Ghostface, Freddy, Trickster, Trapper, Wraith, Billy, Doctor, Deathslinger, Pig, Legion, Michael, and Clown. Poor Clown. Poor Mikey. Poor Legion. Poor Pig. Poor Deathslinger, honestly. Yeah, they did him dirty. Anyway, I hope you like this video. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree with anything. Let's have a discussion. Try and be civil. If you say something stupid, expect to get called out for it. Like saying, I don't know, Deathslinger is fucking still like B tier. You expect to get called out for that. And thinking Spirit's still A tier or S tier, you're gonna get called out for that. Just keep it civil though. Like, whatever. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.